The stories about Kay Thompson are as legendary as her work, the 5 Eloise books.
I adored this woman. She could do absolutely anything. She was a dynamo, knew everything about everything, politics, music.
She was a very, very bright woman, very well-read, and extremely funny.
She always said things that just knocked me out, funny things.
She was certainly a trailblazer. She was a hellion on wheels. She was outrageous.
She was very unique and very elegant. She was very different. She marched to her own drummer.
Well, I knew all about Kay Thompson because I'm a record collector, and I knew about her from the 1930s, where she was a recording artist, very specialized. I mean, she had a sound unlike anybody else.
She never had a singing lesson in her life. When she was 5 years old, she played jazz piano perfectly. And at 15, she made her symphonic debut playing Liszt's Hungarian Rhapsody with the St. Louis Symphony, and on her way off the stage, tripped over a potted palm and got so much applause and laughter that she decided to switch gears and go into show business instead.
She was a musician, and that was her real love. That's what she started out doing, and it was always part of it. In every book there's a song.
No, I was always very interested in music and Hollywood composers, nightclub performers and entertainers. So yes, I knew all about Kay and the revolutionary nightclub act that she did with the Williams Brothers. It was a fast and funny act.
She does a song called Louisiana Purchase. You've never heard anything like it. She goes through the whole menu of Cajun food and everything about New Orleans without taking a breath, and the whole thing just goes like this, and at the end she says, "It's for sale," and so the song is over.
Then she started working for MGM as a vocal arranger, and I was very familiar with all the movies that she worked on.
If you have ever watched any of the old MGM musicals, you've heard her. You've heard the sounds in Judy Garland's voice. You've heard the sounds in the way Gene Kelly tap danced. Kay Thompson taught them everything and revolutionized the way movie musicals sounded. When I really got to sit down and talk to her at length was when I did a piece for Harper's Bazaar on the legendary Kay Thompson and all of the many facets of her personality and her career. It was like an audience with the Queen, Mick Jagger, and Judy Garland all rolled into one, you know. I mean, we became great friends after that. She sent me a great big bouquet of pink peonies thrown in an ice bucket. That was her sense of style. And a note that just said, bobbly boop, beep, bop, bobbly boop. It's great, Kay.
She had this tremendous sense of style in every way, in the way that she dressed. I mean, she was always extremely well dressed.
Her sense of style was amazing. There were times when she would stop traffic on Fifth Avenue.
You know, people would just stop, turn, looked, agape, had no idea. I had seen her once decide that she liked the wrong side of the fabric of a dress better than what's called the right side, and she simply turned the dress inside out.
Well, of course, everybody noticed her, and she didn't do it for effect. She really did have a sense of style that was uniquely hers.
Well, as a matter of style, you know what I mean? She had this wonderful apartment in Rome. The apartment was just zebra skins and huge harem pillows, beautifully designed and beautifully upholstered in wonderful colors. And she mirrored all the walls in between the windows. So it was this sparkling extraordinary kind of ambiance. It almost was like a nightclub in the daytime.
When you went to visit Kay, you had to sit on the floor because she sawed the legs off the grand piano and covered the whole grand piano in red vinyl. Then she took a case of fingernail polish and painted all of the furniture.
And she said, I found the perfect shade of Revlon nail polish. And with that, we went in the store and bought cases and cases and cases of this particular shade of Revlon nail polish. And then went back to her place and, like idiots, sat there with unprimed balsa wood tables, trying to paint them with little fingernail polish brushes.
Everything was pink. Everything had to be pink, all accents of pink. And there was a famous song written for her for the movie Funny Face. A song called Think Pink was created just for Kay because that's how she thought. Well, children's books up to that point had been mostly about teddy bears that come to life, have picnics. Kay just came along with let's have a little girl, but not just everybody's little girl. She's very special. She has the run of the Plaza Hotel, and her 3 favorite words are charge it please. And everything is from room service. Well, every child in the world identifies with that. I mean, you take a child to a hotel and put it in its own room with a telephone, that child will order Coca-Colas and club sandwiches and French fries. And Eloise had a diet like that, and so did Kay.
Well, I come from a family, both my mother and father were artists, so I was completely enveloped in this family tradition. So when a woman who was my neighbor said, I want you to meet Kay because she has got this character that she does. It's this funny little girl named Eloise.
And when she called you on the phone, sometimes you would answer the phone and she would say, it's me, Eloise.
And she said, I want the 2 of us to meet. We went to the Plaza and I went with a friend and we saw her act. We sat with her afterwards. I showed her some sketches, and we started working at once because I was totally intrigued. Maybe 2 days later, she sent me these 3 or 4 sheets of paper that had simple declarations. The opening line, I'm Eloise, I'm 6. I have a dog that looks like a cat. And she said, just go with this. See what you think this should be. Kay was very familiar with the Plaza because she had worked there and she had lived there. And she loved the hotel, and it was a perfect setting for a little kid. It's like a wonderland. When the 2 of us were working, I can hear her now sitting on the floor, rattling off this dialogue, either in her own voice, but very easily popping back into Eloise, this very curious voice coming from this 50-ish something lady. But it was normal, and it helped me a lot. And we would work simultaneously. She'd be reading dialogue, and I would be sketching. And sometimes we would string them up on a wall. She said, Hill, think of this as a movie. And she'd pin them up on like a clothesline. Each page, it was like a storyboard. And then we'd look at them and discuss it, and a lot of erasing and starting anew. And we had a book within a year. We started in '54. And the book came out Thanksgiving of 1955.
But I remember certainly that the first book was a bestseller. It was an instantaneously popular book and has never been out of print.
Each book was done one after the other. When we were finished with one, we'd start the next. Eloise in Paris, then the Christmas book, then Moscow. So they came out 55, 56, 57, and 58.
And I certainly think personally, and I know many of my friends who knew Kay agree, that the character, the inner life of Eloise, if you will, pretty much matches up with Kay's. I mean, Kay would stick a Kleenex box on her head. There was nothing that was beyond the kind of outrageousness that she possessed, which was hilariously funny.
Eloise was Kay's 6-year-old alter ego, pouring Perrier down the male chute. And that's exactly what Kay would have done. Kay said, Eloise will never grow up and neither will I.
I think that it's her psyche, and it was a fantasy of hers that she then transposed into this little child.
She said, I don't need an analyst because I have Eloise. And all the things that trouble me, I just put in Eloise's mouth. That's my 6-year-old alter ego, and she can say whatever she damn well pleases. You try to describe Kay Thompson, you have to tell people that once upon a time there was this woman who came into your life and started to sing, started to paint, started to write, started to compose, and she did it unlike anybody else ever did it before or ever would do again. And this is true. You cannot really describe the uniqueness of Kay. When she died, somebody said, I thought she would live forever. Well, she did live forever, but it wasn't long enough.